DNVR Broncos live, coming to you from Studio A here at the DNVR Bar, where the A stands for A team, because that's what you get when you're on a primetime game.
Is it?
Definitely. Each network brings their best team to the table.
I thought you were saying if there's a team on primetime, it means they're an A team.
No.
I didn't know you were referring to the broadcast crew. But yes, you're right about that.
If you're on the primetime game, you get each network's A team.
I was gonna say, because if we're talking about like the quality of the actual teams that are playing, the Broncos proved that wrong every single time they were on primetime last year.
That's true. Speaking of A teams, never mind. I'll save it for the Buffs pod. The Buffs are getting the A team for the spring game.
Oh.
Are they?
Yep.
Well, isn't it the only one on ESPN?
Maine, yeah.
So wouldn't that make sense then?
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It is.
Anyways.
Who is that A team?
Well, that's what I'm saving. I'm going to save that.
So this is inside info.
Yeah.
Wow.
Buff show, 3 o'clock.
Wow.
Me and Dre.
Oh, I thought we were doing it again.
Oh.
Not excited about Dre, I see.
I'm excited about Dre.
Do you guys want to open back up this can of worms that we were talking about before the show
Yeah,
started?
let's bring it
why
on.
not?
Okay, so yesterday I brought up the conversation. Can you be one of the GOATs? Can you be one of the all-time greats if you're injury prone? And I think the answer is an obvious no. So the question then becomes, are the greats the all-time greats because they have the skill of durability? Or are they the all-time greats because other players who would have taken that crown from them got injured?
I mean,
Isn't it a mix?
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, when you are gifted with the best abilities, do you also get durability?
No.
Or is durability kind of a luck one that comes in?
That's all just luck.
Luck, or it's part of your physical. Oh, well, no, it's not luck, because I think you can help your body become not injury prone by training the right way. But I also think there's some people that could train the 100% right way, but their body just is going to get injured more than others. So I don't think that it's all luck.
Okay.
Real quick, brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook.
Yeah, we're brought to you by DraftKings.
There we go.
Get over to DraftKings Sportsbook. Use the code.
But see, so
DNVR.
you said a GOAT or one of the greats. But those are different, because GOAT is greatest of all
One of
time,
the all-time greats.
or one of the all-time greats.
Yes.
So, like, if you're talking about the GOAT, then no. Like, you've got to be basically perfect. But to be an all-time great, like, it just depends on what
you
that
can't be
cutoff
number
is.
one.
To me, to be an
Probably
all-time
the same.
great, you
Yeah.
have to be in the conversation for the best at something.
Wow.
Okay, well, with this, I think the name that was brought up that kind of caused the debate and brought up by our guy Malheim Memories over at Twitter. Some may know him by a different name on this show. And then Will Jock, also, of course, in the Madden chat, but also on Twitter as well, bringing up the name J.J. Watt. And you gave some pushback on it. I think J.J. Watt is a perfect example of this. Is J.J. Watt the GOAT? No, he's not. But is he an all-time great? In my opinion, absolutely. And he is a guy that absolutely has also been injury prone, but probably being injured kept him from being in the conversation of the GOAT. Who knows where he would be if he wasn't injured?
And, like, the Pro Football Reference has their Hall of Fame monitor, where they give out points for all the different things that people do. And by those points, he's the 5th best defensive end in NFL history. I
So-
think that's one of the greats.
One of the greats.
I think so.
Yeah.
But not an all-time great.
That's I would say that's the same thing.
No, I think he's an
I would
all-time
say
great.
I would say he's
I
both.
don't think he is.
But
To me-
who's above him?
That's a good question.
If he were healthy,
Yeah.
then he would.
Yeah.
He would
Because he wasn't, he is not.
He may be in the conversation for the best.
Yes.
What'd you say? Defensive lineman?
Defensive end. So Deacon.
Defensive end. He may be in the conversation. He may be the best if he was healthy.
They have him behind Deacon Jones, Jack Youngblood, Bruce Smith, and Reggie White.
Where is Lawrence Taylor? Is he not being listed here?
He's probably outside linebacker.
Okay. Well, then you kind of have to lump edge together. So then where does he fall down?
I have no idea. See, and that's what I don't know. I do think if you're top 5 at your position, you're one of the greats, an
Yes,
all-time great.
You are definitely.
I think.
Or else, like, there's an argument that John Elway's not an all-time great because on some people's list he's 7th or something like that.
Like
and
Peyton
I certainly
Manning.
think he's an all-time great.
Peyton Manning's a top 5 quarterback. Is he
Is he an all-time great?
number
Yes.
one is? Yes, he is, but he's not just in discussion for number one.
Fair enough. I think that because of the injuries, J.J. Watt is disqualified from all-time great conversation.
Even
5-time
though
first-team All-Pro, 3 Defensive Player of the Year awards. Oh, nobody does that.
we're talking, has anyone had multi-20 sack seasons?
There's no
Did
way.
Lawrence Taylor?
No.
Did
Like he's very clearly a Hall of Famer, all of those things. Just to me, not an all-time great.
No, he's definitely an all-time
But
great
it-
because
all this
Lawrence
comes down
Taylor
to is-
also 3 Defensive Player of the Years.
All this comes down to is our definitions of what an all-time great is.
True.
You guys just have a looser definition. I personally have high standards.
well, but what is yours?
In the conversation for the best,
It's like Randy Moss is not.
he is.
But Jerry Rice is the clear best. You can't argue anybody else against him. Same thing with like Tom Brady. I hate saying
true.
that.
No,
All
I
right,
mean,
fine.
that
I'll
is
say
true.
in the
Tom Brady is
conversation
the
for
GOAT.
top 3.
Oh, but now I think.
Oh,
you're-
then
I think
J.J.
you're-
Watt probably is.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
he
think
is in
he
the
is.
conversation for top 3.
I don't
You
think he's
take
even
Deacon
close.
Jones and Jack Youngblood.
I mean, that's hard to do with
Yeah, I know.
era adjusted. I will take
You don't need to era adjusted. 3-time defensive player of the year. That means for 3 years he was the best defensive player in the NFL.
what is 3 years worth?
3 years. Who else has? Does anyone have more than 3 defensive player of the year awards?
doubt it, but
At
I'm
any
looking.
position, let alone like defensive end or edge or defensive line.
So J.J. Watt, Aaron Donald, and Lawrence Taylor are the only 3. Who they all have 3.
So he's arguably
I
one
know.
of the 3
No,
best players.
he arguably had
only-
one of the best stretches.
And I'm curious.
No, he
who,
did have the best stretch.
How injured has Aaron Donald been? Not very injured in his career, off the
Yep.
top of my head. What about Lawrence Taylor?
Give me Reggie White, Aaron Donald, Lawrence Taylor.
Those are different.
Yeah, those are now. See, now you're trying to make the argument against him being an all-time great, just like front 7 player. So that shows he's for his position. He's an all-time great.
I don't think I am. I think I'm just talking about pass rushers.
They're all different though. Like
Jake-
Lawrence Taylor is like the edge guy.
Okay.
I would like to
Like-
know, because you're talking about pass rusher, has any other player besides J.J. Watt had multiple 20-sack seasons?
I will say no.
You can't get more dominant than that. And then his other season,
Michael
17
Strahan,
and a half.
maybe?
He would be the one because he's
He had
obviously
one.
had 22 and a half. But yeah, I wonder if he's had multiple
He
there.
had an all-time great stretch.
Ooh, Strahan did have 18 and a half in another season, so he came pretty close.
But he didn't do
He
it.
had an
No, he
all-time
didn't.
great. J.J. Watt had an all-time great run. He had an all-time great stretch.
Yeah, like
He had
7
some all-time
years.
great moments. Some all-time
wow.
great seasons.
No, J.J. Watt. Would you make the argument that Peyton Manning was a Hall of Famer during his time just with the Broncos?
No.
You wouldn't put him
Really?
in?
If
I
he
would.
only played the Broncos stretch, should he be in the Hall of Fame? No way.
Yeah, he should.
They're putting, like,
he absolutely should be. I
Eli
think.
Manning's gonna go in.
When you set the records for everything,
Yeah.
you're an MVP. You go to 2 Super Bowls in a 4-year stretch. You win 1 Super Bowl. Yeah, you're a Hall of Famer.
No way.
I think he'd
So
be
then
in.
when
You-
only
so then-
3 out of your 4 seasons were even good.
So then you kind of.
The other one was a
So then
Super
you
Bowl.
argue that Terrell Davis, you were okay with him taking a while to get in because he was so good, but only for a short stretch.
Well, no, because what Terrell Davis has is the most important thing, which he is the best playoff running back of all time.
Peyton Manning had the best NFL season of all time, the most dominant
You
season
can't be in
of
for
all
4. You just couldn't.
time.
Terrell
no
Davis
one-
basically played 4 years though.
That's what I'm saying.
No, he didn't.
You can't have.
I mean, after that, 211, 282, 701 yards, then retired.
he's getting into the Hall of Fame because of those 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And what was the first
Well,
season?
yeah, you said if he
1100?
only played 4 seasons. I don't think anyone who only played 4 seasons. With me, I don't know how many seasons did Jim Brown play.
But those last 3 seasons of TDs had nothing to do with him getting
No.
into the Hall of Fame.
For sure.
So 4 seasons
was there.
is how he got in.
Just for showing up, he gets points.
More than someone who only played 4 seasons in the league.
man. The comment section's
yeah.
got to let us know. Do you guys agree that Peyton is a Hall of Famer for those 4 years or not?
4 years? No one
Yeah.
can be a Hall of Famer on
I
a
think you
4-year
can.
sample.
I would
what
absolutely
Peyton
vote
Manning
for him.
did was that.
Do you guys
It's
want me to
very
do a
tough.
pod poll?
Yeah.
Pod poll
Yes.
on the-
Yes.
Yeah.
Would love
Peyton
that.
Manning is always going to get the benefit of the doubt in the comment section.
Well,
I'm just being
if
real
other
here.
fans want to chime
Do you
in
guys
that aren't
wanna
Broncos
do,
fans, you can.
JJ Watt. Is JJ Watt an all-time great? That's a little bit more unbiased because it's not.
Let's do both throughout the show. Drop one now, drop another.
Yeah, those are both
as the
good.
show goes on.
All right.
We'll also put this out on Twitter, so follow us at DNVR_Broncos. I love these types of conversations. Though.
I just personally have higher standards than you guys. It's okay.
Wow. Wow.
Wait, do you think Von Miller's better than JJ Watt?
I think I would rather have Von Miller than JJ Watt.
Like his
When they're
career
both
looking
healthy?
back, or are we talking about for 5 years ago?
I'm
they're both
starting
healthy
a
for
franchise.
season?
Both guys are available.
Like as rookies? Because one of them's retired right now.
Yes.
Okay, as rookies. Ugh.
I'd rather have JJ.
Put that one up.
JJ plays
Yeah.
a more difficult position to put up the numbers that he did. Like that's what makes Aaron Donald so incredible. The numbers, like even more incredible, is that he's putting up elite pass rushing numbers from a more difficult spot. JJ Watt, obviously, maybe a little bit easier to put those numbers up than Aaron Donald, but it's still more difficult than Von Miller. And Von Miller has had one season of more than 16 sacks.
He hit 15 or more once.
Yeah.
And JJ did it 4 times.
Come on now.
I can't bring
You guys
myself.
Come on. 3-time
And
defensive
then
player of the year.
Every year that he was hurt, your season was over before it started.
I mean,
how many times has
they were the
Von been
Texans.
hurt?
They were
Twice.
kind of always.
I mean,
2.
JJ Watt's been hurt 4 times. So you get double the injuries, but you get
Slightly better production in the years.
not slightly.
It's not super safe.
What
That's
are
kinda-
what are
I mean,
JJ
3 times.
What are
kinda
JJ Watt's
significantly
playoff stats looking like?
Yeah, I don't really think.
Oh, those don't matter.
Not in terms of an individual. I think for a quarterback they do.
had
I think for what were you gonna say?
As a rookie in the playoffs, he had 3.5 sacks with the Texans in 2 games. But yeah, I mean, he only has 6 total.
How many Super Bowl MVPs does he have?
2.
That's something Von has going for him.
Ooh,
Certainly.
I think I'll take one Super Bowl MVP over any defensive player of the year.
Wow.
So many other things.
I mean,
have to,
it's just tough. 3-time defense player
Von
of the year.
Miller literally
Von's
put a team on his back and carried them to a ring.
he didn't.
Yeah.
He didn't.
What?
No, it was great.
Von Miller didn't put the team on his back.
Oh, that is 100% what he did.
No, he had an all-time great defense with him, who he led. He led, but he didn't. Putting a team on your back is, I'm trying to think, is when like you don't have a good team and you drag them with you. Von Miller, now you could say the defense, the Super Bowl 50 defense, put the offense on their back and carried them.
And
but
he was the best player who had the
was.
best stats.
But he didn't put the entire team on his back. He had DeMarcus Ware, Derek Wolfe, Malik Jackson, Danny Trevathan, Brandon Marshall, and then let me get to Aqib Talib, TJ Ward, Chris Harris Jr., Bradley
Yeah.
Roby, Darian Stewart. He had an incredible defense. Von Miller did not put the entire team on his back and carry them to a Super Bowl.
I disagree. He was the best player
He was.
on the best part of the team.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that you're going to find that with every single team. You can
Yeah.
say that's the best player at that position or with that group, and they won the Super Bowl.
Yes.
Like
Patrick Mahomes put the team on his back and
Yeah,
won
he
the Super
did.
Bowl last year.
But I mean,
there were so many other
does
components with the
somebody
Broncos.
put the team on their back every year?
Right?
Not
I would say
necessarily.
no.
So
I would
and
say
that's the
no.
But
thing.
did
Yeah.
you
Best
know,
team, best player on best unit doesn't have to mean that.
do they don't even come close to winning it without him.
No, they don't.
That's different than.
But what if they had JJ Watt instead?
Yeah, I mean that's a good conversation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he would probably be watching from his couch.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you there, man. What a good conversation. And we even brought some Broncos talk into it.
So do that one too, yeah, as a poll. Who would you rather have
No. Do it because we know that one's going to be skewed.
the same thing as anything involving Peyton Manning?
Did Von Miller
No.
put the Broncos on? Oh, you scared about that one? That one's fair. that people love Von Miller.
Yeah, we can do that one too. But first, I want who would you rather have for their career, JJ Watt or Von Miller?
Just so the people know, he's only going to run for 10 minutes, so get your vote in quick so I can get
There
all
we
of
go.
them in. 10
Yep.
minutes, and then I'll change it up to the next question, and we'll have all
Wow.
the results.
Man, I love this. I love this conversation.
J.J. Watt, very close to being an all-time great. Just needed to be healthier.
No. If you have this intense of a debate with someone and they do something bad to you, unlike we're going to do to each other, you're going to want to turn to our friends over at Backus and Schenker. If something happens to you, make sure to turn your back. Don't turn your back to Backus and Schenker. Turn your back to the other person and talk to our friends over at Backus and Schenker, where they're going to help you. If you get hurt, they are there for you. They win for Colorado families, and they've been in the game for over 25 years and have helped their clients get over $1 billion. They're a team of over 100, and I'll tell you what, though, the very top is great people, and it trickles down from there. We talked to Kyle Backus last week, and boy, is he such a great guy. And one of the things that really separates them is they have that experience of going through these tough times with you, whether it's personal experience or someone in their family had to deal with something like this. They know what it's like when you're in a tough situation. They are there for you. They have offices in Denver, Aurora, Inglewood, Fort Collins, all over Colorado. And so if you need them, call 222-2222. They win for you, whether it's a car accident, motorcycle, rideshare, pedestrian, trucks. They are there for you. So what is it? If you need to sue, call 222-2222.
If you're trying to sue, smash the 2.
Wow. There we go.
And if you're trying to watch the Nuggets or Avalanche, call the Fubo, because Fubo TV is awesome, and that's where you can go to get altitude, which is really tough to do in Denver these days. It's crazy that, like, up in Montana, like, my parents just have altitude. They're just watching every game, having the time of their lives. But no, if you want to watch if you want to watch altitude in town, best way to do it is Fubo. They've got 140 plus live channels of sports, shows, movies, news. You can stream live TV from any device. You can watch the most Colorado sports for the lowest price. And you can start watching immediately with a 7-day free trial. There's no contract. There's no cable. There's no hassle. Just sign up and start watching. It also comes with 1,000 hours of cloud DVR that's included at no extra charge. You can watch all the local teams while traveling also. And there's some great college hockey going on as well. So that's on there. Watch the Nuggets or the Avs or any of that on Altitude Sports with Fubo TV. Use the link in the description to sign up for 15% off.
I'm shocked that someone who's from H-Town disagrees with me.
Wow.
Maybe they're from
Houston.
Hartford.
Yeah.
I don't think
Hartford,
so. Also, they said they'd
Connecticut.
still take Vaughn. So then J.J. Watt's definitely not an all-time great.
Oh, H-Town disagreed with you.
Disagreed with me
Is
and then
Vaughn
said,
an
but I'd
all-time
still
great?
take Vaughn.
So you think Vaughn isn't an all-time great?
No.
Ooh.
Not that.
But again,
not
that's
that
why-
Super Bowl 50 MVP, huh?
By your definition, he is. By my definition,
You've got like
he
a goat
isn't.
thing going. It's like you gotta be arguable GOAT to be an all-time great.
Arguable goat. Arguable
Yeah,
goat.
exactly. That's
Yes.
where like goat's a different thing to me than all-time great.
So that's what a GOAT means.
All-time great is a title, right?
Yeah.
That only one person can hold.
Oh wow. See, no, that's how I feel about
Or
GOAT.
no, sorry, I'm saying the GOAT, sorry.
Yes.
The GOAT is a title that only one person can hold.
Yep.
All-time great is the second tier behind them that are kind of, nipping at the heels of the all-time great.
How does-
their biggest stands would say, well, if you look at this, that, and the other thing, you could actually make the case that this player was greater than this
Which
player.
is so easily done for J.J. Watt. It might be the easiest case to make for like anyone.
Except for Aaron Donald.
And the case that you would probably make is if he was healthy.
No, not even. Three-time.
you could.
Three-time MV or Defensive Player of the Year. He's one of 3 people in NFL history to do that.
I still think he can be not an all-time great just because Aaron Donald is so incredible. Like it's the same thing with the Tom Brady
different
thing.
Position though.
I mean, he played inside too.
Defensive end. I think J.J.
Yeah,
Watt was like
that's fair.
a defensive end, and Aaron
Yeah.
Donald defensive tackle.
That is true. I mean, J.J. Watt's so great, he played all over the place. And Aaron Donald
did.
Same
goes
thing with
outside
Aaron
a little
Donald,
bit,
yeah.
but not as
When you
much.
They're kind
think
of
of it, though, I
they're kind
think-
of equals in my opinion in terms
No.
of the new age dominant defensive lineman.
But like Chris Jones is more like Aaron Donald. You know?
Yes, exactly.
Like Michael Strahan is more J.J. Watt.
Yep, 100, and that's defensive tackle
Yep.
versus defensive end. And most of those
Yep.
guys do kind of play all around, but most
That
of
is
them
true.
are like one or the other. And for me, it's very easy. They're
Also, something on the Terrell Davis conversation.
Yeah.
Ooh.
4 years as a running back is very different from 4 years as a quarterback because quarterbacks can play for 20 years. You just never see that from a running back.
Is Mahomes a Hall of Famer?
yes, Mahomes is a Hall of Famer right now. Unfortunately,
Why do you bring up Mahomes?
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to think like who's 4 or 5 years in.
Herbert a Hall of Famer?
No, he's
no.
not.
All right.
They have very different resumes, though.
They do.
Mahomes and Herbert
But
through their first.
How many years has
5
Herbert
years?
played? Has he played 4?
He's played 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he's done literally nothing.
Thank
Well,
you.
he has done a lot. He set the rookie pass record for touchdowns.
Yeah.
He set the Chargers.
Well, you're all
there
about
were-
records.
And
If there
his-
was a rookie Hall of Fame, Justin Herbert would be in the rookie Hall of Fame.
Yes,
Yeah,
he would.
definitely. I didn't say Herbert was a Hall of Famer
No.
right now. He's not. But I mean, saying he's done nothing is also not true. Okay, should we dive into this conversation that we have about the Broncos today?
But this is so much fun.
It is fun. But speaking of great players and stealing the spotlight, how many primetime games should the Broncos have this year?
How many should they have? Honestly?
Yeah.
0.
Wow.
Oh, and the reason we're having this conversation, and because it's important, you said 0 right there. The NFL has always gave every team a primetime game. This year, they said at the league meetings earlier this week that we're not going to guarantee that every team gets a primetime game anymore. And in fact, teams could have multiple Thursday night games. So this kind of starts this conversation of how many did the Broncos have last year? Was it 5?
Yeah.
5
And then they got
primetime
flexed.
games.
Didn't they lose one? So it went down to 4.
But then they also they had like the Christmas one, which wasn't actually considered a prime time, so but it was kind of. So,
Okay.
but I mean, they had like nearly the
max,
max
yeah.
of them. But you're right, they did lose that one late in the season because they were so awful on prime time, and the Broncos became a meme. They became a joke,
Yep.
and it was literally like Broncos fans didn't want to see them on TV, national fans didn't want to see them on TV, and it became so bad where when we saw a Broncos primetime game coming up, we're like, man, this is going to be an awful game, kind of joking about it. And then it was an awful, awful game.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's why I say how many should they get? How many do they deserve? 0. Because in the last opportunity that they had, they ruined everyone's night.
And when you mean opportunity, you mean an entire season where they had multiple.
That's what I mean. In each of the last opportunities that they had, they ruined everyone's night. It was bad for us. It was bad for America. And it was good for whoever team was playing them.
Unfortunately.
I think like the Chargers game, you could make an argument that was an entertaining game. But
1 of 4, 1
Yeah.
of 5. They did beat the San Francisco 49ers
Yeah.
on primetime 13
yeah, I guess you could also
Colts
say
game
the
was wild.
Seahawks game was entertaining.
Seahawks game was a good game. That was a great game.
But if you look at it from a casual audience perspective of points scored,
Yeah.
the Chargers game was probably the game they scored the most points in that. And what did the Broncos score? Like 20? Was it 23-20 or something like that? These other games, which you want to say the Colts game was close. How many points did the Broncos score? Was it 9?
11?
11?
12. It was a...
They lost.
No, 11 was the 49ers game. That was 11.
Yeah, 11,
10.
49, 13. I mean,
Yeah.
they scored like an average of like 13 and a half points on primetime games.
Yeah.
So from like
Yeah.
what everyone wants to see now, offense scoring, you can just put all the games together and say it was just dreadful.
Yeah.
I think they're getting a bunch of them. I really do. I think that...
Wait,
That-
but how many should they have?
I mean, should is just based on TV ratings. And I think they think the TV ratings are going to be big, so I think they should get a bunch.
Okay.
Like, I think that there is kind of this redemption type story after how bad Russell was. Like, you just look around the NFL, there aren't... This is one of the major storylines, or it was last year, and that's why I think the NFL just tries to build off of it, because everybody saw it. Now, I do think they're going to be kind of backloaded so that they can flex out of them, but, like, I really do think that this storyline, can Sean Payton fix Russ and all that sort of stuff, I think it's going to get him on national TV a lot.
But should, I think, is the question we're addressing first. How many should they have?
I think they should have a lot, because
They
I think the
should have a
ratings
lot.
will be good.
The Denver Broncos.
They have a chance to be good.
the
ratings.
The Denver Broncos
Yeah.
shouldn't have any primetime games. They completely, maybe one, and they've completely blew it last year. But not just last year. The Denver Broncos have the second longest playoff drought, only to the lousy New York Jets. And you know what? If that 8.5 is right, the 8.5 win total for the Broncos, they're probably not going to make the playoffs this year, even if they hit the over at 9. The Jets win total is set at 9.5, I believe. Jets, I think, are going to make the playoffs this year. The Broncos could have the longest playoff drought. So we're not just talking about, oh man, it was so bad with Nathaniel Hackett. This problem is all on Nathaniel Hackett. Last year, a lot of it was on Nathaniel Hackett. But with the Broncos, remember in 16, 17, they were still getting the max primetime games because they're the Denver freaking Broncos. They had a great defense. But then we saw 18, 19, 20, the primetime games hit like an all-time low, I think in 20 or 21, and then they bounced up again last year. So in terms of what the Broncos should get, what they deserve, they don't deserve much this year, unfortunately. But, and I think kind of what Hank was pointing to, the Broncos brand is strong. So in terms of the brand, the Broncos are good for ratings for the most part. I'm curious to see if there's an early primetime game, if the national crowd tunes out the Broncos a little more than they typically would just because of how bad last year was.
No, they won't.
I think
if it's early, they won't.
If it's late and they're bad, then they will.
Yes.
Yep.
So I think that then the Broncos, because of the brand, is what gets them 2.
Yeah. So how many will they have? Funny enough, I think they might actually have the first primetime game.
Oh.
Thursday Night Football
No, that's-
at Kansas City.
Oh, because you could play.
Oh, that would be bold of the NFL.
It could be.
Because what if Russell Wilson isn't fixed by Sean Payton and this game rolls out and it's 41-10,
Then
and
they get to have their-
the game's over at halftime, it's 21-3 or something like that. That would be bold.
Yeah, it would be
Yeah.
bold, but it's also like they would just use it as a chance to jerk off Patrick Mahomes, which is their
Exactly.
favorite thing to do anyway.
Exactly.
So, it's kind of a win-win for them, and I think there's a legitimate possibility of it happening. And so if they're gonna get that one, I bet you they get at least 3.
I also think they're getting a week 1 primetime game. I think it's that late night Monday night game that like they've played that like what 2 of the last 3.
Didn't they get rid of that?
Oh,
This past year, there was something.
It was just the Broncos
It was
on
just
that
the
Monday Night
Broncos,
Football. Yeah,
yeah.
just Broncos Seahawks.
Wasn't it then in week 2 they
yeah,
did that?
they did a
Oh,
week
that's
2
right.
doubleheader.
Why did they do that?
I don't know. Maybe
That
they
was
wanted more
weird.
Sunday games for week
For
1.
opening week, or maybe to keep more because they know there's going to be plenty of eyeballs on week 1 to try to get more eyeballs on week 2 or something.
maybe they do.
I'd be down for a Monday night doubleheader every week.
Hell yeah.
Yeah,
Sign
Although
me
I
up.
would like it for them not to overlap.
not to overlap, and they can't start till after 5.
And the
because
Broncos can
people are
only be
working.
on 1 a year. That 8:15 start selfishly is tough.
Yeah, for sure.
But I do think though they are going to get either if that second Monday night game is week 2, it might just be then. But I think that game at home against the Jets, because I think that's Aaron Rodgers. Everybody's going to tune in to see him. I think again, like I think national audiences want to see the Broncos. Like I do think that that's
Early in the
case.
season, I think they do.
I think they definitely do. I think that this is just so different this time around. And I think that it's that Aaron Rodgers versus Russell Wilson battle. I think that one does pretty crazy numbers. And I think that fits well into one of these early season games where either can fall off.
a lot of people hate Aaron Rodgers. A lot of people hate Russell Wilson. They will hate watch that game.
This is the game, and I'm so happy you brought this up. This is the one why I wanted to talk about this because we talked about it. It was brought up in the office 2 weeks ago, when Aaron Rodgers said that he wanted to go to the Jets. We were talking about this, and a lot of people in Denver said, oh, Jets Broncos could be a perfect week 1 Monday night game. No.
Somebody else said that too?
It was very much there.
It's a
out
good
there
one.
on Twitter. It's a fine one for the Broncos. from just a Broncos standpoint, would I like to see Nathaniel Hackett back in town week 1 going up against Russell Wilson? The Broncos have very openly dogged Nathaniel Hackett. He's very openly dogged the Broncos since he left. Obviously, Aaron Rodgers' first game with the Jets, that doesn't really have much to do with the Broncos. There's not much of a true storyline outside of Denver between Aaron Rodgers and the Broncos. We all know it, but that's not a storyline nationally.
They must have. I mean, there's probably Russell Wilson though. I would
With
imagine
what?
they've played a bunch in the playoffs. You would think.
That doesn't. I don't think that means anything. I don't.
Yeah, I mean, it's
don't
not
think
like Brady
that is-
and Manning.
That is not a national matchup. There's some
really?
good national matchup, and on top of it, if you're saying week 1 primetime game, 15 kickoff on the East Coast. That is
True.
not going to happen. You see these games, it's Raiders, Broncos, it's Chargers, Broncos, it's Seahawks, someone else, San Francisco. Those are the teams playing in that late slot. And I don't think that it's going to be a Monday night game.
mean-
And then it leaves the Sunday night game, which this is not a top game for the national media. And then it's obviously not going to be Thursday night.
I can't tell if the late game was. It was either Minnesota, Philly, or Tennessee, Buffalo. But
When?
either that last year, like the week 2 Monday doubleheader. I mean, Buffalo and Philly. I guess Tennessee also pretty far east.
I think Minnesota Philly was the late game.
Okay.
That's the game that Darius Slay had like 3 picks or something.
Oh, because that was week 2.
yeah.
Yeah.
I do
Fair.
think though.
I just don't think that they would do that. I think that's bad for ratings.
I just don't know who would be more interesting.
In week 1. So I
Like
think
you could do the Bills, I guess. But I mean,
Bills,
Definitely.
but those games are going to get a bunch of attention. Like that's a divisional game. You don't need to knock that out week 1. I don't know. Like the Eagles, there isn't really a tie. Like the Chiefs would be good, except like the Chiefs have to be at home that week. I think that game against the Broncos, from a national perspective, is one of the more interesting games.
You're only looking at the New York Jets schedule, though. You're not looking at all the week 1 games
True.
that are matchups out there.
But I do think Aaron Rodgers is going to be primetime week 1, assuming
Sure.
he goes there.
Sure. I don't think it's going to be against the team that was the most disappointing and joke of a prime time. So wait, so how many games do you think Sean Payton's worth for prime time?
That's a tough one.
1.
I think maybe 1. I think it's like the NFL is like, okay, Broncos, should they have 1 or 2? And if there's a debate between the 1 and 2, I think Sean puts them from 1.5 to 2 games. But a coach is not worth multiple primetime games. You're not tuning in to see Andy Reid, the greatest coach that's coaching, right? The most entertaining coach. You're tuning in to see Patrick Mahomes. How many games were the Chiefs getting in primetime when it was Alex Smith with Andy Reid coaching him? Probably.
A few.
But
Nobody
what-
cared.
what-
Like Andy Reid wasn't a guy. Like he was a good coach, but he was nothing crazy
because
at that
it's
point.
Patrick Mahomes. What I'm saying is I tried to pick out the best example of like a coach you tune
Mm-hmm.
in for, and without the quarterback with them and an elite quarterback play, they just don't get the primetime game. So to me, Sean Payton, he's not coming in this year, and they're like, wow, they have Sean. Like last year, Broncos get Russell Wilson. They go from like 1 primetime game to 5. You're not getting that with Sean Payton, where you're like, oh, we need to keep the number of primetime games max. Now, if Sean Payton comes in, turns Russell Wilson around this year, and then Russell Wilson is elite next year, then they get boosted to 5 because they have the quarterback then.
I think why Sean Payton is worth 1, maybe 2, is if they're willing to bet on Sean Payton fixing Russell
Yeah.
Wilson. And I think, to Hank's point, early in the season, that is a compelling storyline. Now, if the Broncos stumble out of the gate, they lose all. I always say narratives are written in the first quarter of the season. So if the Broncos go 1-3 to start the season, everyone will determine that they are trash, and regardless of what happens the rest of the season, everyone will be bored of them and out on them. But in week 1, when you have the did Sean Payton fix Russell Wilson storyline to lean on, that is a juicy storyline for the NFL.
Yep. The more I think about this Jets Broncos week 1 game, it's just too perfect.
Like, it's just too
not
perfect.
perfect.
It is so
not
perfect. With Hackett, with the Rodgers rumors last year, with Russ being
But
so
again,
bad last year, with Sean Payton coming in. Like, I think
a lot
Russ
of those
being bad
things you
last
said,
year
though,
helps.
are just very localized to Denver. People don't care that Aaron Rodgers was, from a national level, that Aaron Rodgers was almost traded to Denver.
They do, though. Like, there are people
they
writing national
don't.
stories. That was the whole Hackett thing, was like, they brought him in to bring Aaron Rodgers in, and now he's reuniting. Like, that is the easiest
A
broadcast they
trade
could put
that
together.
maybe almost happened is not interesting for a national audience.
It is.
I think it is.
What's interesting is that the Broncos allegedly tried to do Hackett and Rodgers. It didn't work. They went Hackett and Wilson. Hackett and Wilson failed miserably.
Yep.
Broncos now have Sean Payton, and now Hackett is back with Rodgers. That, like, you can do a whole
Yep.
day of stories on that whole thing as you lead up to Monday Night Countdown.
The more I think about it, I
don't
legitimately
think
think
so.
that's just like a lock.
Also, if you just take
a lot of people think that's a lock.
if you just take
Just think that's a
Rodgers out of the
Denver
equation,
perspective.
Hackett coming back to Denver after failing miserably is like a great storyline.
It is.
not
without even
Monday Night
Rodgers.
Football
No,
Week
it's
not.
one
No,
worthy.
not
Yeah,
that
that's what I'm
worthy,
saying.
but
No, it's not.
But it is
But-
really interesting.
Also, two great quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Almost said all-time great, but they aren't.
Russell Wilson again. You got to remember what happened last year
Yes.
with Russ.
I think
Two
that in
great
some ways
quarterbacks
helps, though.
who struggled mightily last year in new settings. Which one, or can either of them get back?
I think you guys are just putting Russ. You're forgetting the rust that was put on Russ last year. He's got to dust that off at first. And like you're saying, he's got to dust that off at first. He's not getting a new metal right now that's completely clean. He's got to dust it off first. So I could see. I think what you said earlier, maybe backloaded primetime games is where you see, or that may be the opposite of what you said. Backloaded primetime games where then they can flex the Broncos off if it's not good. But if the Broncos are good, Russ is good, Sean Payton's good, then you're kind of building in the storyline for that. This is actually going to be a good primetime game. So if there's going to be primetime games, I see them backloaded.
And I think in a lot of ways, Russell being so bad last year is part of why they'll put him on TV, because it's a huge storyline.
Yes.
Does Russ come back?
That's why you
what
go
is
the
Russell
early
Wilson?
You don't remember how bad the primetime games
we do.
were.
But I think that's-
people actually didn't want to tune in.
Yeah,
It
But
wasn't.
that won't apply to the beginning of the season.
not at all.
That's all people remember. In fact, when all of this was being reported about the primetime games, the top comment on like every national person's tweet about primetime games was like the Broncos. Oh, well, this means the Broncos aren't going to have. It was all Broncos.
Yes.
But again,
But
that's
an
why
early
there's the
season-
No, because it
conversation
was
right
so
there.
bad.
But the early season conversation about Russell Wilson, is he back, Sean Payton, is worth national attention.
Yep.
People will tune in to find out
Definitely.
the answer to that question.
Also,
No one is saying, oh my God, the Broncos are in primetime week one. I'm not watching. Zero people will say that.
No, and the other thing is also you have like the little mini storyline
Probably
of like
any
Sauce
team, though.
versus Pat Surtain though.
That's the point.
You have a lot of little mini storylines like Pat Surtain and Sauce Gardner too. Like you want to see two of the best young CBs out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's another.
You don't
side
need any of that.
Cornerbacks don't. Move.
But I was like the seventh storyline.
You guys are
Yeah.
You guys are saying there's storylines for every team.
Yes.
I could point to 28 teams.
How about-
and make that their
Quarterback storylines are what sell, though.
Exactly. So like Jets Bills, what are the storylines there? They're in the division.
a division with
Yeah, no,
Aaron
that's a great
Rodgers
story.
and Josh Allen. Are you
but
kidding
I'm
me? That's
saying
way
compared to the
better.
Broncos.
That's
But again,
way better.
There's one storyline. They're in the same division.
No, and Aaron Rodgers and going up against Josh.
But
that's a
those-
great story.
that was the one of the
No,
worst
that's
ones
why I
that you
picked
could
it.
have picked.
That's why I picked it, because I think that that's the second best storyline in the entire thing. I think that the Broncos blows out of the water.
No.
Well, and
No,
for
no,
me,
no,
if
no,
you're
no.
going to put Jets Bills in primetime, you do it at the end of the season, hoping that the division lead is on the line.
Yep.
Okay, yeah, here you got to put that one out. Well, what's a better primetime
Yep.
game? Jets,
Primetime storylines.
Broncos, or well, it's also part of the game.
But well, that's
Which one
why
do you
I
think's
So
gonna be
what's
that's
better?
what I
better?
said.
What's better for week one Monday Night Football?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm
that
going
works.
the division game.
Real quick before we do that, can you guys remind me which questions? I have 3 of them out so far. I need.
I
what
think
was the
that's all
fourth?
we have.
No, we also had one about Von Miller carrying the team.
Yep.
We had Peyton Manning 4-year stretch, and then we had his J.J. Watt an all-time great. There was one more I'm missing. There were 4.
Von Miller or J.J. Watt.
Oh yeah.
Okay, that one, and then
Who would you rather have
We're
this
giving,
at the
we're giving
beginning of
that
their career?
one to Ryan.
Okay, Von Miller and J.J. Watt, and then the last one is Monday night Broncos Jets or Jets Bills.
Yep.
Week 1, yep.
But get, like,
Yep.
Ryan, do you think I'm crazy saying that the storylines between Broncos Jets are better than the storylines with Broncos or Jets Bills?
National perspective.
The underlying storylines are better.
Yeah. Okay.
The projected game is worse.
Yes. There we go.
I think you have maybe these smaller storylines, which are even way smaller at a local level because they're only big local. People don't care
I think
that
they
Aaron
do.
Rodgers was almost traded to the Broncos.
And
I
those,
mean,
that
if
was
you go look at like
those
any
are big
like
stories.
Adam Schefter saying that Nathaniel Hackett's
Yep.
going to New York, all the comments are about him and the Broncos and trying to get Aaron Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
So like people know about it.
Well,
and
because
are,
but that doesn't carry into a game.
I think it does. I mean, it
the
carries into a
storylines
broadcast.
though
yeah.
are what we're talking about here, and that's a good story.
Yep.
I don't think it's as big as you guys.
If the Jets put up 40 points, then there's this huge story of the Broncos, missed out on this. If the Broncos
locally
win the game,
the next day people nationally aren't going to be talking about that. They're going to be talking about how, oh, the Jets are now this dominant. See, that's what I'm saying. Locally, we'll be talking about it. Nationally, they're not going to be talking about this again because it's not like Aaron Rodgers was here. It's not like he was here and then demanded a cut and there was actually like real drama. Nationally, there wasn't.
I think all week leading up to that game, that's what everybody will be talking about nationally.
I don't think
Like,
so
we can
because
disagree.
when Aaron Rodgers made his announcement that he was going back to Green Bay last year, the conversation nationally wasn't, man, the Broncos just really missed out. It was, okay, let's just focus.
That was one of the conversations.
No, it's hard to tell because Russell Wilson was traded 90 minutes later. But it was just more so focused on okay, now let's focus on the Packers. It was where the quarterback was.
Yeah.
And he was never here.
Yeah. I mean, I think people do care about this.
I think they
and
really
people
do.
definitely care about what's going to happen with Russell Wilson.
Again, Nathaniel Hackett fired the 4th fastest of any coach in NFL history. Like, you've got a whole bunch of these little things in there too.
Yeah,
but that broadcast is so easy.
From a local level.
But
It's
he was a
national.
national joke though. He was. It's almost Urban Meyer. In the same way everybody talks about, oh, Urban Meyer just flamed out. That guy was an
And
idiot.
I
How
don't
did he
think
do that?
Urban Meyer on primetime week 1 the following year, if he was with the team, would be a story that national. I certainly
If
wouldn't
they were
be
playing
tuning
the
in.
Jags, it would've.
Yeah, I do.
I don't think so. Not that much.
Oh, it would have been
He
top
wouldn't have been
5.
week 1. Also,
Yeah.
No, I don't think so.
Urban Meyer goes to the Jets the next year. They're
That's-
playing the Jags in week 1. That's a huge storyline.
I don't know.
But Urban Meyer's a much bigger name than Nathaniel Hackett.
a
True.
bigger name and more controversy.
Yeah, of
There
course,
was
of
a
course.
lot more than just being a bad coach.
Everybody just made fun of Hackett.
One
But again,
thing.
to me, again, though, the whole thing here, like, because Russell was so bad, that's why I think they want the Broncos on national TV this year. Because this is just chapter 2 of that story. And I know that last year people were complaining about it. I think people really want to see the Broncos this year. I think they do.
I think there are 2 slots for Broncos primetime games. One is very early.
Yep.
Like week 1 being the most
Yep.
likely.
I agree.
And then very late. So yes, they can flex them out if they don't need to. I think the Broncos probably get like 1 in week 1, maybe week 2, and 1 in week 14.
We'll find out in about a month from now. You know what's something we can all agree on? Our friends over at FOCO
Yes.
being the best. We've got so much on our set right now. We've got bobbleheads, we've got helmets, we've got banners, we've got t-shirts, we've got signs. You can get all of it over at FOCO. And when you use the code DNVR over at FOCO, you're going to get 10% off. You want any sports memorabilia? You get it over at FOCO, specifically with Colorado sports, whether that's Avs, Broncos, Nuggets, Rockies. Happy opening day, guys. You want to get some Rockies gear in order to celebrate the season? Check out FOCO. Use that code DNVR.
yeah. Oh, do we have 2?
No, we don't.
Okay, I didn't think so.
Speaking of
I have
primetime
one more
game-
thought.
What? Well, then we're going to talk. We're going to continue to talk.
Oh,
about it.
okay.
Let's pull up the Broncos schedule. We don't have to go through every game, but clearly I think Henry thinks Broncos Jets is the best primetime game. Let's look at every game and see what we think the best is. Maybe we can have 3 or 5 games that we think are the top, or just identify which ones we think are the best for primetime.
All right.
I feel like we got to throw the divisional games out just because those are always just kind of like they're just going to pick some randomly. I don't think it matters which one's which.
I do.
You do?
I think some division games are better than others, whether that's looking in the AFC West or looking at other divisions.
If I was trying to rank which ones were going to be primetime games, it would be all really even. I think that's
exactly
the point.
So then you keep division games in here for this
So it's like,
conversation.
the question is, are the Broncos going to get a divisional primetime game?
Yeah, we'll get a couple.
So I think the division games are certainly in this conversation.
Yep.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, all I'll say is I don't think it matters which one. I think they all have about the same chance of being primetime.
So then how many do they get in the division?
Probably 2.
2 in the division.
I think 2 in the division.
So you think they get how many total?
I think 2 in the division. The Jets game, probably 1 more.
4.
I'm not sure which one though.
So I
None of
think
them
they
really
get
stand
2. And it is either Broncos Chiefs opening the season.
No.
Broncos Jets early season primetime. And then if whatever one of those doesn't happen, then the opposite will happen. So if the Broncos get the Chiefs to start the season, then they'll end up doing Broncos Jets late in the season as a primetime game. I find that less likely than the other way around, which is Broncos Jets early season primetime game, Broncos some division team week 14.
You know the best place for Broncos Jets for the NFL?
When?
It's like week 6 Thursday night. Because
Yeah, that
there
could work.
are storylines there. You guys pointed them out. I just wanted to downplay that it was like one of the top storylines in the entire NFL that has to be on primetime at the beginning of the season. But you put week 6, Thursday night game, you're taking a lot of risk out from the NFL because it's a Thursday night game.
Yeah.
What do we talk about? Thursday night games, even if it's a shitty game with bad teams on, people are still going to tune in because they're craving it when Thursday comes around. You put the Broncos on Thursday night, you're taking a lot of risk out of that. People still watch the Colts Broncos on Thursday night, even in overtime. So I think that's just a prime spot for that Broncos Jets game to be. And when you look, when we pull up the schedule and look at games, that is one of the more appealing games for the Broncos. Now, my argument, to go back to last segment so people don't get confused, I don't think it's one of the top 3 games in the NFL week 1 where it has to be on primetime. But if you look at to the rest of the Broncos schedule, here, can we pull that up? You look at the Commanders. Broncos Commanders does nothing for primetime.
No.
Broncos Browns does nothing for primetime.
I can see a Broncos Chargers Thursday night game for sure.
Okay, but let's go through this. Broncos Commanders does nothing. Broncos Browns does nothing. Broncos Vikings does nothing. Broncos Packers. You guys might make the case that like Aaron Rodgers is no longer there, but he was almost traded to the Broncos last year, so that's storyline. I would say no chance. Broncos Patriots. 10 years ago does numbers, doesn't do anything right now. Broncos Dolphins.
People are talking about in the comment, including former Broncos game ball recipient Jake Rogers. But I don't think so.
Wait, what?
Remember when Jake Rogers got a game ball from the Broncos?
Yeah, where is he now?
He's in the comments.
Oh, Jake okay, I see what you're saying. Broncos keep that up. Broncos Dolphins.
No.
I don't know. If that would be one if the NFL really wants the Dolphins on primetime.
I think the Browns have just as good a chance. I think that game has as much.
Broncos Bills.
Need to move the needle.
Broncos Bills. I mean, again, that's one if the NFL wants the Bills on primetime and they're like, oh, let's have Russell Wilson and Sean Payton be on primetime. But in terms of like matchup games, storylines, not really there. Broncos Bears, no. Broncos Texans, no. Broncos Lions, no.
Texans maybe have a quarterback that they're trying to show off, but probably not.
Sure, but I mean, it's on the other side. Like you're looking at it from a Texans perspective. So in terms of a Broncos perspective, sure, the Jets could be one. But again, made my argument for that. And then 1 or 2 primetime games, maybe 1.
What do you think going back to the Jets thing?
Yeah.
2 biggest moves made in the NFL this offseason. What do you think they are? Assuming Aaron Rodgers trade goes through.
Oh boy, well help me with all the moves that have gone on.
For what it's worth, the Broncos have been on Monday Night Football in week 1.
Yeah.
3 out of the last 4 years. The only year that they didn't was when they opened up with the Giants.
What year was that?
2021.
Yep, and that was the year when I think that was their only primetime game, or they also had the Thursday night game, and it was their fewest primetime games. And then they got the big boost last year because Russ was here.
Man, that Monday nighter versus Tennessee at home. Drew Lock's first game as like the guy.
Yep.
Rough one.
Yep.
They lost 16-14.
Yep. Well, we're used to those type of scores.
I still just think, I mean, to me, 2 biggest moves. Aaron Rodgers going to the Jets, Sean Payton going to the Broncos. And when you can put those next to each other in week 1, just feels so easy.
I think that you
Also,
put
4 out of the last 6 years, week 1 Monday Night Football.
I think you could just look at the Jets and have much better, more intriguing matchups for them than a team that Aaron Rodgers was maybe almost traded to a year before.
But it's Russell Wilson. I think it's Rodgers Wilson is the draw.
I don't think Russ is a draw at the start of a season. Again, I think
He is for
He
sure.
is,
It's
yeah.
a
I
train
don't
wreck
think so.
thing. People want
Exactly.
to watch to see what happens.
I don't
Also,
think
people
so.
like clowning on Russ constantly.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I bet you the
They can
social
clown on him
media
whenever,
activity
though.
during Broncos primetime games last year was as high as any that weren't the top game.
I think you guys are just disremembering how bad it was.
No, it was
bad,
terrible. It was
but people
awful.
were watching and talking about it.
Yeah. No, it was awful. But I do think that people want to come back. But I think the NFL thinks that it's going to get turned around, and I think that they want to have people watch it turn around because that's a great storyline. You set the scene
later
already.
in the year.
Also-
But at that point, they've already turned around.
How much does Penner owning it like have anything to do with it? Like
Zero.
more money, like or anything?
Zero.
Like, nope, no,
No.
influence.
0.
Definitely not. I don't even think most people know Greg Penner's name.
Did you guys see Travis Kelce go through
Yep.
NFL head coaches, and how many did he not know? 12?
A lot.
And
Yeah.
not
The
just
best
know
one
their,
that he
not
didn't
just
know
know their
was Josh
names.
McDaniels.
Yeah, not just not know their names, but not know what
team
team
they-
they coached for. So that just kind of shows if an NFL player doesn't know who NFL coaches are, an NFL player that's been around 12 years, 13 years, doesn't know who NFL coaches are, people don't give a F about who the owners are. And then shows how fans probably don't really care about who the coaches are either, or know or care from a national perspective.
I've been more like Rob Walton, like trying to leverage a little bit more exposure for the team, kind of stuff. Not really like people getting involved because of the Walton, but like him talking to the league, like, hey,
Yeah, that
Rob-
matters in these conversations.
On the opposite side, though, Nathaniel Hackett was fired after getting embarrassed on national TV because Rob Walton was so embarrassed by it. I think Rob Walton's okay with taking a little step back this year and not being in the national spotlight and then letting it naturally groom. I think the Broncos are okay with that.
Yeah, I think so too.
I think they want to build the brand.
The
I mean,
brand
national
is built.
TVs are
the brand,
always
the
good.
Broncos brand is built.
I think they were deeply embarrassed about what happened last year, and
Yes.
they probably wouldn't mind
think so.
working in
Yeah.
silence this year.
Yes.
They're-
And plus, it's not like
so
they've been
competitive,
quiet.
though.
They've been in the spotlight this entire offseason. The Broncos have been, at the top of storylines. So
$40
it's not
million
like they've
more
gone,
than anybody else.
Exactly. It's not like they've gone away. Okay, then what's the best division game to wrap this up? Best division primetime game for the Broncos. Is there anything with Josh McDaniels and Broncos still?
I think
I don't
that
think so.
You sell
fizzled.
that?
I mean, it
Yeah.
wasn't even primetime worthy last year.
Yeah, fair. I'm just trying to build a
yeah,
case
yeah.
for that. Joe Lombardi's now in Denver as opposed to the Chargers?
Nope.
I think it's probably just a Broncos Chiefs game,
I mean,
just
and
because
yeah.
it's like, oh, this is like a historic rivalry,
And that's where the-
Broncos haven't won. Like that's not really necessarily a national storyline, but it's just like, okay, well, let's just throw Broncos Chiefs on. They pretty much do it every year.
And that's
I
where,
was
like-
gonna say that's an every year thing.
Yeah.
And if we were Raiders podcast, we'd say, yeah, I guess it's probably just Chiefs Raiders. And if we were Chargers podcast, we'd say, oh, it's probably just Chiefs Chargers.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then all three of those will be in primetime.
Yeah, probably.
The most competitive game, though, if you want to look historically,
Broncos Chargers.
would be Broncos Chargers.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
The Broncos need to break those streaks against the Raiders and the Chiefs. I can't believe there's now a streak against the Raiders.
I know. It's bad.
It is. Sean, You're here to fix that. You're here to fix that.
So how many did we decide what they're getting?
I think 2.
You think 2?
4?
I'm trying to decide between 3 or 4. Ryan?
2.
2. Give me 4. I think they get 4.
All right.
I think they get 4.
All right.
It's going to be interesting. Maybe you can bet on this over at DraftKings Sportsbook, where you use our promo code DNVR to get $200 in free bets by placing a $5 bet. You're going to get $200 in bonus bets. Do I even have to ask your guys' Final Four picks?
Who's playing?
Florida
Dogs.
teams.
Yep. Oh,
Florida Atlantic and Miami. Those are the dogs.
okay. And Miami is playing... Florida Atlantic's playing San Diego State, and Miami is playing UConn. Man, you're going against UConn. What odds do you get for going against UConn? Plus 180 or something?
It's not great, but we're already up 23 units.
Yeah. No, I mean, you guys keep doing what you're doing.
Yep. I'll just go through and hit all the pluses.
Yep.
Let's see what the odds are, though. College basketball.
Because UConn is minus 125 over at DraftKings
plus
to win
205 for
Plus
Miami.
205. There you go. And
then-
obviously,
Plus 130 for Florida Atlantic. I will be cheering, bets aside, for San Diego State to win it all.
why so?
West Coast better than East
Mountain
Coast.
West, though.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. I just always thought they were gross.
First Mountain West team to ever make it to the Final Four.
Pretty crazy.
Actually, wait, the Elite Eight too, right?
I don't
think
know
they were
about
the
that.
first team, Mountain West team, to make the Elite Eight, then Final Four.
Yeah, I just always cheer for Western teams over Eastern teams.
I like it. And
Unless it's like an LA sort of thing.
would CSU make a little more money by Mountain West winning it? Does that work in basketball how it
Yeah.
does with football?
Yep. It depends on how your conference distributes it, I'm pretty sure, but I'm sure it's probably an
So
equal
you're
distribution.
pulling
Yeah.
for the CSU Rams to get better
Wow.
in some way. I love it, Ryan.
Sure.
And if you want to bet with that, if you're a Rams fan that wants to bet with Ryan, you can do that at DraftKings Sportsbook. And tonight, Nuggets. What's the line? Playing the Pelicans?
Let's see. Pelly's Jokic is questionable, so that's probably messing with the line. 8 o'clock. Nuggets minus 5.5.
Minus 5.5. Speaking of primetime, you guys know there's only 2 NBA games tonight, and they're both on primetime?
I did.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Both with implications for the Nuggets, too.
What's the other one?
The
Celtics,
Celtics and the
Bucks.
Bucks. Yeah.
It's right in front of me.
Got to knock Giannis out.
So use that code DNVR over at DraftKings Sportsbook if you want to get in on the action. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And if you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-522-4700.
Did you see that the second place king, Joel Embiid, has a slight edge in the MVP straw poll because he has more second place votes?
Yep.
Yeah, and it's interesting. He has 2 more points overall,
Yep.
but Jokic has 2 more first place votes.
Yep.
I mean, this
Yep.
is as tight as it can be going into the final stretch.
And these
And this
Things
is
are
why I
never
root
tight.
for the West over the East, because you have these East Coast weirdos who are just like, it's down to Giannis and Embiid. Like, whatever one I pick, I'm putting the other one second place. And that's
Yeah.
why Jokic doesn't have as many second place votes.
It's crazy. So what are the odds of DraftKings right now for
Even.
for MVP?
Plus
What-
115 each.
For
And then
both?
Giannis is plus 350.
Yep.
Oh man, and Giannis is for Jokic has 42 first place, Embiid has 40, and Giannis has 18. So like he's
He's probably not going to win. Yeah.
way out of it seemingly.
Yeah, this is kind of, yeah.
I mean, what the odds would say 20%, a little better than 20% chance.
That he would win.
Yeah. If it's plus 400 would be.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's gonna be 7 games left.
7 games left. And in the article, it noted like a lot of people responded like, this is not final by any means for me. Like, I got to see what happens.
As it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, could you imagine as an MVP voter for football? Let's say it's down to
Probably be
Russ.
the last game of the season.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Russ and Aaron Rodgers, and they're both playing for something, and you already submit your vote. Like,
Yeah.
what? That
Right.
that
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense.
Well, and I honestly believe that people submitted their vote before Jokic ducked Embiid.
It could be.
Whoa,
Not all
Other,
of them.
other way
Whoa,
around.
whoa,
Sorry.
Embiid ducked
Embiid ducked Jokic.
I think they
Jokic
said
would never
that
duck Embiid.
they sent out ballots after that happened.
I thought
No.
they sent out
Before the
ballots
game.
Sent out
on
ballots
Sunday.
on Sunday. They
Oh.
were due on Tuesday.
I thought it said Monday afternoon.
Nope. That might be what it said, but
I think Ryan's
I
got
have
a source.
sources.
Oh, okay. Okay. Also, again, it's never close. Last year, first place votes 65-26. Year before, 91-1. 85-16, 78-23, 86-15, 69-22,
It's almost never close.
131-000,
So pull away.
125.
Pull
Yeah,
away, Jokic. This is your time to, and that's what I'm nervous about is Jokic just over these past couple weeks hearing the noise and stuff and just not wanting to.
He doesn't care.
Put his I think he clearly heard the noise. He admitted it, and I think his play and the stats proved it for like a week or two after all that happened. I think that's my concern of him not winning it is him just not wanting to play into that narrative that he cares about all that stuff.
I think he actively doesn't want to win it.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is him playing into that.
Yep.
I don't think I disagree. I think he does want to win it. I do think if he could say, like, I just don't want to be included at all, he would take that option, but he's going to get slandered no matter what. Like, at this point, you might as well just win it.
I honestly think it might be an advantage for the Nuggets if he doesn't win it.
In the playoffs?
Yep.
Like less
Weird.
pressure on...
Slightly less pressure, a little more, like, you can do the chip on your shoulder type of thing. Like, that whole thing, I think, is better, like, maybe just marginally. But better than third MVP in a row, only one without a finals appearance, just like hammering him constantly.
I think regardless, this is such a massive year for Jokic and the Nuggets in the playoffs.
By the way, the third MVP in a row thing is the single only possible reason that Jokic doesn't win it this year.
It is crazy. Like, you look, like the MVP tracker where it's like, he should have 67% of the vote just based on the numbers, based on how everybody's voted before.
Which is the dumbest thing ever. It's most valuable player in that season. No historical context should matter at all.
And it's so crazy where it's just, what they're saying is, the voters screwed up by not giving it to LeBron. The voters screwed up by not giving it to Michael Jordan. So we should screw it up.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, what? Wait, how does that make sense?
That's why it's just so funny that Andy Reid, I think, has the worst odds to be coach of the year this year.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
All right. Should we get to some questions?
We should. Let's dive into the questions.
That might be a good bet.
We have a super chat coming in. And let's read it coming in from our guy, Broncos legend, Jake Rogers. Says, did y'all see Sean Payton's in the group photo of the head coaches? Remembering the league. Reminding the league he's back. A couple notable things about that. I mean, excellent form, excellent posture. He definitely put his feet in the ground and,
Power stance.
It was a power stance. And then he also showed off something else.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. You guys didn't see the zoomed in photos?
No, I saw it.
Oh, yeah.
I just didn't expect you to say it, which is hilarious.
Yeah, I didn't know. I thought I said it pretty mildly.
Yeah, no, you did for sure. I believe Eric Weedham, our good friend, calls that man spreading.
Yeah.
He was definitely getting a man spread.
And I mean, who was he next to? Sean McVay. I mean, he made Sean put his legs in because he was taking up so much space. The guy on his left, I think it was Ron Rivera maybe. He was taking up literally half of his chair. Yeah, Sean was saying in many ways, I'm back, baby.
I don't think that Sean Payton, I would just venture to guess that he's not very liked by other NFL head coaches, aside from the ones that come from his tree.
I wouldn't disagree.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
He does, in terms of NFL coaches to hang out with, if you're coming at from the perspective of an NFL head coach, guys have no idea. Like, I could seeing him being like, yeah, he's fun.
Well, he's he's out of the young group. All of those guys hang out together.
True.
McVay, Shanahan, LaFleur,
True.
Et cetera. Hackett.
Yeah.
He is, but those younger guys all hang out together. So then you have
True.
the older crew.
Hackett's a good he's still in that crew. He's a good time.
Oh, he's definitely.
Oh,
in
I
the
guess
crew.
he's not in the head coach crew.
He's
out of the club. He's in the crew.
Okay, sorry.
I don't. Yeah, I just don't like. I bet you Mike McCarthy does not like Sean Payton. Bill Belichick doesn't like anyone. Who are some other older head coaches?
Pete Carroll?
I bet Pete Carroll has a mutual respect for Sean Payton.
Russell Wilson tried to get Pete Carroll fired to have Sean Payton. That may piss Pete off a little bit.
That's true.
That
but
would
that's
be
not
uncomfortable.
Sean's fault.
It's not.
Yeah, I would guess he has Dan Campbell.
Yep. Who loves him.
Yeah, and then I don't know.
Doug Peterson?
I know that
Probably Dennis Allen.
Sean
likes
McVay
him.
did say, like, I'm
Yeah.
excited to turn on the Broncos tape every week to see what I can steal from Sean Payton. So, like, there's definitely a respect there.
Yeah,
if as an
absolutely.
offensive mind.
And there's probably tons of respect for Sean Payton around the league.
Also, you just need Dan Campbell on your side. He'll just bite everybody's kneecaps off if they don't like you.
Is your mic on?
Yep.
Dan Campbell called Sean Payton a stud.
Yep.
Again this week in an interview, I believe it was our friend Brandon Cristal. Sean Payton once again brought up the time where Joe Montana and Russell Wilson were there.
Why is
this
that?
was not mentioned. I believe BK asked him, so Russell Wilson, you guys talked in the past, and Sean interjected and said, just cut him off and said, well, Joe Montana was there, so who wouldn't want to talk to Joe? It was like
That came up again recently?
this week.
What are
Yes.
why is that still coming up?
I don't, and again,
know.
BK wasn't even asking him, from my remembering of this interview, about that dinner. It was just like he brought up Russell Wilson and he talked about that.
So odd. Is there... Okay, because this has come up again, what is the percentage chance that Jared Stidham is the week 1 starter?
Week 1.
No injuries included.
No.
So no chance of
I just want to know if
injury.
your
It's
answer is
zero.
above 0.
It's not above
Yeah,
0.
2.5%. 1 in 20. Because I could see Jared Stidham, because he has not tied his hitch to Russell at all.
I feel like if he felt like he could, he would say we're going into a quarterback competition.
I think so.
I'll say it's really low too. But yeah, I'll say a little higher than you guys. 3%.
Then Jared Stidham starting at least one game this year, not because of an injury to Russ.
Oh God, that's 15.
Wow.
I'm going to go 20.
I'll say I think there's a 20% chance that this team is like bad.
And I just have to say, I'm 100% basing these takes off of Sean Payton's words.
Yes, 100. Me too.
I'll say 10%.
That is wild that the lowest of all three of us is 10% for a guy whose $250 million contract extension has not even kicked in.
Yeah.
But again, we're basing it off what the head coach is saying, the guy who now has all of the control and power.
Yep.
They really did like structure this picture totally based on like seniority and merit and that sort of stuff.
Ooh.
Like-
First row is the...
Oh yeah, but like first row dead center's Andy Reid. Got Bill Belichick right next to him. Yeah,
Yep.
Ron Rivera. Like you wouldn't think of him as the next guy over, but like he's coached. I think he's coached 200 games in the NFL.
Bill Belichick is the most slouched over person in this. And
Why did they take this photo?
It's just like a yearbook type deal. I mean,
Why?
why take
idea.
any photo? Like why
For
when I go home?
memories.
Yeah, so there you go. There's memories.
this is not
was
like
trying to remember this?
Yeah, no.
I don't know. Like, do you remember the 2021 version?
No.
I think the clip has been going around due to recent events involving Sean Payton again,
Ryan,
Oh, is he involved in that one?
in a way.
Okay.
there wasn't a 2021.
Wasn't it?
There's no way. With COVID,
I think that's 2020. It wouldn't have been.
NFL stopped
no.
everything for like 2 years.
Oh, maybe that was 2019 then.
Yeah, probably.
I don't think it was that long ago. Well,
I just don't understand the.
I completely
point.
agree with you. I think it's
I
bizarre.
mean, I don't understand the point of taking any picture. So I agree. Like every picture is kind of dumb.
I think when you take a picture,
There's been some takes. That might be the worst one.
you
I
take
don't
a
know.
picture for someone to maybe eventually look back on it, right? Who in this photo says, I'm going to look back on this?
Or like, does anyone print this, put it out?
No.
It comes out once a year on Twitter,
Yep.
and that's it.
Yep. I totally agree. Or sickos like Henry who Google it.
Yeah. I don't know. I
You
mean,
might be the first person to Google that.
that's not it. The chat knows the photo. I'm confident in that.
Well, let's dive into some comments on the website.
Oh, super chat here
Oh,
from
we do have
Jared. Did I
super
miss
chat.
the RK measuring? No, we forgot to do it after the show.
Yeah, we were being kicked off the set, and
Yeah,
then
that was
Ryan had to
dumb.
do a new show right
Oh,
after.
that's true.
I
and
just,
that's gonna happen again today if we don't speed it up.
I kind of, I'm a little offended that we even need to do this. And I'm not even you, Ryan. Like the fact that Henry thinks you're lying about your height.
I know it's weird.
It was 2020.
So wait, what was the conversation
Wow.
yesterday?
Yeah, it was 2020. I was thinking 2020, but no, because they did it in January that year, I guess.
What was the conversation
Did
about
they
your
know
height?
it was coming? Oh, you missed it.
Henry doesn't think I'm 6 feet tall.
Wow.
Because he's not.
You know what's also weird?
Okay.
We got tons of people watching, only 59 likes. Do you guys hate us?
That
I thought
is-
this has been
Yeah.
a fun show, some back and forth. Hit us with a like. We'd really appreciate it. Helps us out. Also, 5-star review over on iTunes. All right, now let's jump into the comment section on the website. Nash Bronco says, fellas, we need a leash length update on George Payton. I know Sean had a lot of input on which players to target in free agency, but I'm guessing George was helpful when negotiating contracts. How long is his leash? How warm is his seat?
We haven't done a heat check on the seat in a while.
Seat heat.
I think all's going
Seat
well.
heat 5.0.
Medium seat heat.
All is
Yeah.
going well. I think there's I think there's a Rockies playoff percent chance, which is
0.1.
point
No, 0.1.
zero-
0.1, sorry.
0.1% chance that anything would have changed publicly with George Payton's perception with Sean from when Sean was hired till now. So what I'm saying is everything seems fine, but there was going to be no chance that that wasn't the case right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Ooh, so our guy, Christopher Fillmore, just sent in a tweet. He has a picture of him standing next to Russell Wilson and him standing next to me. And there's a pretty clear difference
God.
in how much taller I am than him versus Russell Wilson.
Same
only
perspective,
question-
same location.
Favorable angle?
Could be.
Exactly.
Could be.
You are sizably taller.
Oh.
Yeah. We were all tagged in it. Christopher, that is some great research right there. I don't even think we need a measuring stick. Yeah, why don't we just
Also,
have a,
like-
Perspective. You're closer,
It's possible.
yeah, that's why I said the perspective.
You're closer.
But he's like
But Russ is
way
also
bigger.
closer if you look at their
but
feet.
not by much. I mean,
Yeah.
look, your back hip is at his front hip.
That's
you
a
look
good
at
photo,
Russ,
Christopher.
That is a good
Fairly
photo.
even.
Also,
Hey, Henry,
Zach, or I should say Henry, barely taller than Zach.
We're hunched.
True.
I was hunched. I was standing next to Zach.
I
Had to
think
get my
I,
arm
look
around
more
him.
I
straight.
thought I've got pretty good body posture there.
I didn't.
I don't see any hunch from you.
I was
My-
hunched.
my-
Unless
leg-
you just have a natural
My
hunch.
legs
I do
are
have a natural
spread.
hunch.
My legs are spread, making me even shorter too. Henry, your legs are straight together, making you tall.
No.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also love the comment on the screen. It's my favorite one. of the
Wow,
day.
Hank Short King
that's
Rage's
true.
notes yesterday. I never
Wow.
even thought of Hank as short
I'm
until
not.
this conversation came up.
5'8" and 3/4 above average.
No, average
Oh.
is 5'9".
Well,
I
then
don't
we're
think that's
actually
true.
we're actually very close. I'm somewhere in the 5/8s. I'm definitely below 5'8.5", but like if you're only 5'8 and 3/4, we're close, bud.
We're not close.
We're very close.
No.
If you're within 1 inch, that's close.
But me and RK are close too.
Nope.
Yes, we are.
You're not within
As
an
close
inch.
as you guys got with covering the buffs, that's as close as you guys have been in anything.
Wow.
Probably.
Okay, so what's George Payton's leash? How long is it? Do we need a measuring stick for it? Can we measure it?
I don't know how we measure leashes. I'm saying
the
his
graphic.
seat heat is at 5.0
If I had to say, like, is he
out of 10.
10 most hot seat or 10 least hot seat? I'd say 10 least hot. I think he's closer to that side.
You're saying
Why would you
why
use-
would you change the scale? A 0 to 10 seat heat. You're saying he's a 0.
So you think he's at no? So you think he's like 16th? Like he's average? Like everything's distributed normally? It's not like, I mean, we graded all the signings and nobody got worse than a C plus. You know, is it one of those things where it's like everybody's like 5 and up or something?
No, if 0 is he's completely safe and 10 is he's getting fired
He's
tomorrow,
fired, yeah.
he's a 5.
I think that's exactly where I am,
I'll go 2.
too.
Okay.
I just don't think anything would have changed from when Sean Payton was hired till right now that we would know about. Like a lot of people when the Broncos signed McGlinchey, Powers had that great spending spree the first couple days of free agency. A lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot. I saw some comments on Twitter saying, "Oh, so George Payton's a bad GM now, huh?" And like tagging people that thought George Payton should have been fired. They didn't do anything magical to get those guys. They gave them a lot of
Paid them,
money
yeah.
to get these players in. If in 3 years these guys turn out to be all pros and they paid them less than all pro money, then it's like, damn, really good job, George Payton. But so far, George Payton's done nothing like incredible this offseason.
I mean, yeah, we all think Sean Payton's probably calling the shots more though. Like I don't think
Of
there's
course.
anything George Payton could have done.
That's what I'm saying, though. Nothing would have changed from then until now.
Fair. Yeah. Except I did think if they made a change, it would have been right when they hire Sean. So that's why I think
I don't think so.
Not
I think it
going-
would have been
I-
after
I
the
think-
draft
yes,
or
yes.
after this
Okay.
season.
After the draft would be an interesting time to check on the seat heat.
Would be. That's just in a month away.
We should get a seat heat graphic.
Seat heat. Yeah. Checker.
Just seat heat.
Yeah. Seat heat. I like that. Yeah. Maybe we can get
We
some
should.
seat warmers in here too.
I wonder who's gonna do that.
You.
Wow.
I mean,
your job.
that's your job.
I wonder who'll do my job. Me.
I wonder who's
Hosting
gonna
the Broncos
produce
podcast
today.
tomorrow. Wonder who's gonna do that.
Oh, wow. I wonder.
Again, I actually like making graphics. That's fine. That's cool.
All right.
It doesn't sound like it, does it, guys?
I mean,
No.
It's another day in the job, I guess.
Let's make a graphic that he has to make tomorrow.
Yeah,
Let's
something
come up with
hard.
one.
Something detailed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Something detailed and it's just gonna be words. Hank. I'm just gonna write words on a piece of paper.
Samuel Bisou says, guys, how could you miss this? The player on the Broncos that has to wear 0 is
Alberto.
bingo. He
Yeah.
needs to have his jersey with the name Albert and the 0. Omar Ojemudia? Really? LOL.
Omar Ojemudia is a future legend, so
He
I
is.
don't know why you're hating.
Yeah, Alberto definitely is the guy for this year.
He would look so bad. In
It
that.
would be terrible.
It would be. That's a bad one.
Alberto,
But can he go like Brazil football team and just go Albert on the back of his jersey?
yeah,
and then
no.
put the O?
below? That'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Is there a rule
Albert's-
against doing that in the NFL, though? Because no
Oh.
one does that.
I don't know. They let Nene do it in the NBA.
But
Yeah.
he was Brazilian.
And Yao.
I mean, but that's because like
Yep.
the names are flipped. Like your family name is the first name in China. So if it's Yao Ming, then it's actually Ming Yao.
Really?
Yeah.
I think
I
I really don't.
I didn't know that.
It seems wrong. Seems wrong.
No, I don't think that's wrong.
In what? Just Chinese?
No,
I mean, I
think
can't
about this.
list
Think
all
about
the
this. Think about
languages.
this. You've got like Ichiro Suzuki. You've got Kurt Suzuki.
Yep.
You've got all of these people.
That's Japan.
No, that's actually
but
Hank is
Ichiro had
right.
Ichiro on
Hank
his.
is right.
Yeah, Hank is right. It is real.
Oh,
But Ichiro. Okay, so then Japan.
I know nothing about Japan.
Ichiro got his name on just as Ichiro. So
Maybe
we haven't
it's
seen.
something
We've seen it in
similar.
every other major sport. I don't know about hockey.
But I mean, it's the Suzukis weren't all related though, right?
There's probably multiple different families of
That's
Suzuki.
like it's like
So
you know
Suz-
a bunch of Ryans.
so that's what that is.
I only can speak for China. I speak for China on this podcast, and that is it.
And what about Brazil?
I have no idea. I think it's
Something
Brazil.
similar, right?
Brazil's regular. It's because it's
regular.
Neymar. Yeah,
I don't
like-
know if you could say it's
I-
regular.
Wait,
That
okay, then
sounds
it's
problematic.
more English. It's more like our culture. But they use single names for the most part.
Oh, 2003, Nene changed his name legally to just Nene.
That's
So
first
he
and
had
last
to-
name.
He just was like
He just dropped his last.
went to
name.
court. That part of my name isn't there.
So he only has one name.
Yeah.
Do you guys remember his last name?
Oh man.
I mean, I
Not off the
did,
top of
and
my
I
head.
looked it up, so you can't believe me.
Paulo?
Lario.
Yes. Man,
So
I
he had
loved
to
it when
legally change it for the NBA to allow that,
Probably.
presumably.
Albert. Can we have Albert
Albert.
change his name to just Albert? Boy, that would help a lot of announcers, a lot of play-by-play
It really
guys.
would. It really would.
Wow.
I think he'd have to be better.
He'd have to be better.
I mean, like
Well, you could,
Chad Ojocinco, it's
he
like
could
okay,
combine it with
fine.
another
I mean,
person who
Chosen
legally
Anderson.
changed their name, and he can
He's
just
better.
be Prince Albert.
Oh.
So does he just have to be as good as Chosen Anderson for him to change his name, or better than Chosen Anderson? If that's the
How good?
mean,
How good is Chosen Anderson?
Better than
Better
Alberto.
than Alberto
Yeah, but
significantly.
like, how good?
On
because that's the line
Like,
we're
if you want to
drawing.
say, if you want to say Chad Ochocinco level, Chosen Anderson's nowhere close.
That's
to
true.
that.
But I mean, like, what has been the response to him changing his name to Chosen Anderson? I don't think it's been like
getting
widely
clowned.
supported. Yeah,
I mean, when Chad Ochocinco did it too, I remember
True.
people were clowning him too.
Yeah.
Like,
and
you know,
that's
just
Chad
clown-
Ochocinco.
Yeah, like
I think he's back to Chad Johnson, isn't he? Yeah.
legally.
yeah, legally he's
Yeah.
back to Chad Johnson.
Yeah.
Smart. That's a name.
So
Shout out
it's-
to
anything
so
can be a name.
Meta World Peace.
No, anything cannot
Is
be a
he
name.
still there? Is he still?
Did he just have Meta on his jersey?
Oh, it said
No,
Meta
It said World
it
Peace.
said world. Wow. Yeah.
That's so legit.
That is incredible.
Albert, come on.
Albert.
Which Albert?
Albert. Oh.
Oh, okay. See, that's why you need the O.
If you make him Albert number 0, that's hard.
Wait, what?
That's good.
Oh, yeah. Aviator Chris, last comment says, what are some of your favorite bets coming up this weekend? Any sports or for the Broncos season-long bets? Also, give me one of your spicy bets. Looking forward to sprinkle some money this weekend in Vegas, and if I win, that extra money will go toward my second pilgrimage to DNVR. Last December, I was in Vegas, and boy, was it depressing not to see anyone wearing Broncos gear and seeing a horde of black and white jerseys, obnoxious Raiders fans. We got to turn it around this year or show some progress because I don't know how much more Broncos Country can take in this continued downward spiral.
Not a lot.
Ooh, Alaska Preston. I'm 6'125". When I met RK, I had to slightly look up to him.
He was slouched.
Alaska Preston, I love you. But man, are you sucking up to RK with that? And I'm giving RK the 6 foot.
I mean,
How much taller does someone have to be? Oh, how much taller? I thought it was
boy.
like a car crash outside.
it's a car crash on this show right now.
How much taller does someone have to be for you to look up to them? Like look up at them? I'd say it's
trying to think of
inches.
someone,
I
like,
would say
in this-
inches.
No, I don't know. I'm trying to. Who's like someone in this company that's 6'1"? Do we know?
But like Hank is 3/4 of an inch taller than me. I've never once looked up at him.
Yeah, in that photo, it was a toss up.
Exactly.
I think it's actually like 5'8" and 7/8. I also haven't been measured
he's
in
saying
like
he's
8
growing.
years.
He's saying you're shrinking, and he's growing on this pod. In the past 15 minutes, he's grown 1/8 of an inch.
I'm not giving myself 5'9" because I don't deserve it.
So you're below average.
No, I'm not below average.
Well, he's above average for a woman. For a woman's height.
I'm not a woman.
What about
Notably.
for a Chiefs fan?
But taller, I bet.
Yeah, that's why I'm definitely bigger.
All right.
All right.
Andre, if that was an applause
Oh,
button.
bets. Henry gave me this one. I love this one. Rockies over 11.5 wins in the first month of the season. That
Yeah.
counts the next 2 games starting
Yep,
today.
yep.
And all of April, which is a total of 29 games. The Broncos have to go 12 and
Rockies.
The Rockies have to go 12 and 17 over the course of the first month of the season for you to win. They're terrible, but the first month is always their best month.
I'm going to go against everything that Ryan and Hank stand for. It's also definitely a losing strategy. I went 0 for 4 in my college bets last weekend, so don't take this advice, but I think UConn's going to win it all, minus 125.
UConn,
Oh.
I mean, clearly looks like the most well-rounded team, but they're clearly a 4 seed for a reason, so they must have flaws that might show up at some point.
And is there any seed that's higher?
No,
So they're the highest seed.
4, 2 5s, and a 9.
That is insane.
Wow.
It's actually a beautiful thing.
Wow, 4.25. That was like a 40 time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
4.259. They're getting it down to the 1,000th of a second.
You could
quick
take
fingers.
the Rockies to win the series 3-1 this weekend. 7-1 odds.
Don't.
They won the season series against the Padres last year.
I
Weird
know.
things happen at
Do
the
you
beginning
get your
of the
money
year.
back if it's a push?
No.
No, it has to be 3-1
Exact
exactly.
score.
Oh, so
Yeah.
not even a sweep.
Because that's the thing about baseball is the sweeps feel so rare because you always like bench like half your guys because you're like, oh, we won the series. Now we
Yeah.
can get a rest day.
Yeah.
So 3-1.
All right.
I like 3-1.
That's 7-1 odds.
Yeah.
I can't believe Henry, who at times has been the biggest Rockies hater in
I
this
am.
entire company,
Yeah.
has now he's in on the Rockies.
And he's
It's-
dishing out winning picks potentially, or picks about the
Potentially
Rockies
being
winning.
The big word. But yeah, I mean, it's because the Rockies are so bad. The juice. 7-1.
Juice.
7-1.
to win the series.
Yeah. It's 7-1 in a baseball series.
Imagine how dumb you'll feel if they sweep.
Yes.
Hey, I got other bets.
Wait, what
I'll
is
be
the
doing
sweep?
just fine.
Do you have those odds up?
Oh wow, those are probably pretty insane. I know you can get them to win the series at plus 650. The sweep is 40-1.
Wait,
Whoa.
what is 3-1
3-1.
series score?
7-1.
Dude, you should definitely just take the plus 650 on winning the series.
I don't think they'll sweep. Like again, it's plus 4,000. I'll pinch that. Like they're not.
Or just put
They're
a
not
little
gonna
bit
sweep.
down on that.
But then if they start the series 3-0, then you're rooting against them in the 4th game.
That's fine.
Henry
what
doesn't
am I
like the
gonna do?
Rockies. He's just in it for the juice.
Yeah,
Fine.
This is what we're finding out.
I did so much studying this morning.
On the
Ask me the name of.
Rockies?
Yeah, ask me a name.
Ask
Ba-
you a name.
Backup catcher.
Backup catcher Brian Servin.
Damn.
Wow.
Damn.
Pretty good, right?
Brian's
Pretty
was
good.
kind of dope though,
Who's
honestly.
who's going?
He was.
Who's seventh inning setup man?
Well, that's a tough question at this point. But working backwards, it's going to be Bard, who's in the 9th. They picked up that other guy, Hand. Hand is going to be in the 8th. So you probably have.
It's got to be another 4-letter name.
No, it's not, actually, despite popular opinion. It's this guy who.
Josinka?
There was one who pitched somewhere last year. There's one who pitched for the Rockies last year, who I hadn't heard of.
Wow, someone pitching for the Rockies last
still
year.
on the Rockies.
Wow.
I have. If you want to know 8th or 9th inning, I got you.
Okay.
There's 7th is up for debate. That's
Let's
all I'm gonna say.
go 1 through 7 in the lineup.
Well, never said Profar's first name out loud before. Only read it. Jurickson.
Jurickson.
How do you say the J? Okay, so there's you got old Jurickson up there. Well, we know McMahon's gonna be 3rd. With Chris Bryant 4th. So you probably put that Tovar 2nd. Tovar would be
All right,
my.
we're done. That's the Rockies talk for the year.
That was
Anything
tough.
else?
That was pretty
We
good.
made it through. We made it through.
All right, let's wrap it up there. Appreciate you.
Wait, before we go, I do have all the results.
Oh shit. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
We
that's
definitely
right.
need this.
If you vote in one of these polls, you have to hit a thumbs up right now.
Yes, please. Thank you.
Yes,
So
we gave you polls.
Shut up, Hank.
I thought he had the results right
You
here.
shut
Yeah,
Ready
I do.
to go.
So who would you rather have? J.J. Watt or Von Miller? Von Miller 72%, J.J. Watt 28%.
Oh
Okay.
my god.
I
I'm
abstained.
Oh my god, I'm shocked.
The next one, best week 1 Monday night football game. It's Broncos versus Jets, Bills versus Jets. 50% say Broncos Jets. Bills Jets are 49% with 55 votes.
There we go.
So it's like
That
there we
means-
go.
That means that nationally it's not even close. If this community is saying Broncos
Oh,
Jets
that's
is
spin.
tied.
That's
I don't know
spin.
because
Thank
I think
you,
these
thank you.
people are. I think Broncos fans are the lowest
So
on
no,
the Broncos
what-
in primetime games.
No.
Oh, yeah, they
are.
Nope, nope,
Yep.
nope.
I think that actually makes it seem like the national biggest story of the year.
No, shut it.
All right, next one. Is Peyton Manning's 4-year run with the Broncos enough to be a Hall of
This
Famer?
is gonna be blown out of the water.
71% said yes.
Yeah.
2-0. I'm
And
2-0.
28% said no with 57 votes.
Let's go.
Is J.J. Watt an all-time great?
Yeah.
I'll save that for the end.
Oh,
Did
that's gonna be a
Von-
yes.
Did Von Miller carry the Broncos to Super Bowl 50?
I'm most curious about this one.
60% said yes.
Oh,
39% said no with 76 votes.
damn! I was
Is
wrong.
J.J. Watt an all-time great? 86% said yes.
There we go.
36%
go.
said no with a nice 69 votes.
Hey,
All right, I was 3-1. I feel good about that.
Hank,
I think I was
you
2-2.
abstain from one vote. You can't be involved in any conversation. I'm sorry. If you abstain, you're out. Yep, there we go.
What was I going to say? Yeah, I just have higher standards. I'm sorry.
Get out of here.
It's okay. It's all right. Everyone has their standards. Mine are just a little higher.
This was fun. We got a lot of involvement here.
It was a lot of takes, a
A
lot of
right
call-outs.
takes.
Someone in the comments said J.J. Watt's an all-time great and Ryan is not.
Wow, that's
But
tough.
in our respective fields, me in the Broncos podcasting field, basically a 7-year run of dominance as the #1 podcast.
It's true.
So
It's true.
There is that.
That is pretty good. So is that are you the defensive player of the year?
well, I don't know. One of us,
Okay. I'll take the offensive MVP. You can be defense.
I would say I'm MVP, your offensive player of the year.
See, the way I
It's
would
true.
put it-
You can't win both. I don't know why that's the case,
I don't
but you
either.
just can't.
I mean, it makes sense. There's no point. Every year, the offensive player of the year and the MVP would be the same. In Madden this year, Justin Herbert, MVP,
Shut up.
his #1 wide receiver, and Nia Smith, OPOY.
Wow.
I think it's perfect balance.
We don't know that yet.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
The way I would put it, either one's head coach of the year and the other one's the MVP of the year, and then Hank is the newcomer of the year.
Zach would definitely be coach of the year.
Okay, I'll take. But then that means my odds are really bad this year. If I've won coach of the year once.
You've won coach of the year 6 years in a
Oh
row.
hell yeah!
Wow.
Let's go, Hank. You get newcomer of the year.
Rookie of the year.
Rookie of the year.
Oh, rookie of the year. Yeah.
Well, this is the NFL.
Rookie of the year in the Broncos podcasting world.
There we go.
Wow.
It's
Let's
true.
go.
Do we have a
It's true.
comeback player of the year?
I don't think anyone left. and then
Kale's
came back.
left and come back for
Didn't
a
come
couple of
back.
shows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Couple of shows yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He had a graphic for us.
So he's like
Was he good,
JJ
though?
Watt, where he gets hurt, comes back for a couple, and then goes away again.
Wow.
Good thing he's
No,
not sacking any of us.
We do have rings. Number one podcast, right?
Yep, we do.
Yep.
So yeah,
Yep.
a lot. Well, I guess I don't have. When do they give the rings out?
A while ago.
When does our
damn.
season end? Because a lot of people would argue this is our season right now.
The season never ends.
Season never
Yeah.
ends.
Just depends on when they decide to do the award ceremonies.
Yep.
We do have rings.
How dumb are fiscal years? Just like out of nowhere, we're just gonna
Very
say the year
stupid.
is in July.
I think
It's
the
like-
fiscal year's coming to a wrap soon.
Damn.
For some. Some
Depends.
fiscal years are end, I believe, the end of March.
I
Weird.
prefer the physical year, which starts in January.
Is it actually physical though? It's not really fit. You can't grab it.
It's a.
I have a calendar.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Does your calendar start with Monday as the first day of the week or Sunday?
I'm not gonna lie, it's
Probably Sunday.
not my calendar. It just happens to be in my home, and I don't look
I
at
think
it.
that's what we have to end.
I
but
could go grab it
I think
later.
that's one of my top pet peeves is people who think the week starts on Sunday.
I think
It
calendars
is
start
messed
on
up.
Sunday, don't they?
Some
A
do.
lot.
Oh, not all.
I think most.
It's kind of an old school thing. Like newer
Oh.
calendars are starting to do it the obvious
Wow.
right way.
Because how is the
Apple
weekend?
and Google have it Sunday.
No,
Apple does.
not my
Maybe you
Apple.
can change the settings.
Wow.
Damn, Apple's so sick. Oh, yep.
at
Start
that.
week on. You can pick any day.
Oh.
Guess what? My week starts on Wednesday.
That's so fucked up.
No, look.
No way.
My week starts on Wednesday.
Oh wow, that is
Wow.
messed up.
My
Now I
question
have a week middle.
My question to
I get my
anyone
week middle
my
off.
question to anyone who thinks that the week starts on Sunday is Sunday part of the weekend or not?
Yes,
So then the week starts on Monday.
I would agree with you.
But
Yeah.
if you sing the week days of the week song, you start with Sunday. Except in Spanish.
Not in Spanish. Lunes,
Yeah.
martes, lunes, martes, miércoles.
Jueves.
Viernes.
Sábado, domingo.
There you go.
Damn.
Wow.
We should do a
Yeah, here, you
podcast
wanna
all
jump
in
in?
Spanish. Oh, can
nailed
we
it.
do
He's
our Cinco
embarrassed.
de Mayo podcast all in Spanish?
I'm not going to be on that because I'll be at the Scramble de Mayo.
All
I
right,
will
we got
not
half
be
the
there
vote.
then if we're doing it in Spanish. Although I can say the Pledge of Allegiance in Spanish.
The Pledge
Whoa.
of Allegiance to what country?
America,
Oh.
the United States.
I'm also trying to go to the Scramble de
Pledge-
Mayo, but for different reasons that have nothing to do with golf.
All right.
Trying to drink. We get it, you here.
Oh, Drinko de Mayo.
Yep.
You guys could go too.
Maybe we'll do a
figure
6
something
a.m.
else
pod that day. Just get it out of
5
the way.
a.m.
out. You guys do it. You guys enjoy that one. I'll just save my bad takes for the next day. All right.
How do you change days per week?
That's going to wrap it up for us today. Appreciate you guys for tuning in, and we'll see you guys later.